The first 6 rounds of the GNCC ATV series were run on the fast, sandy plains of southern Florida, the challenging terrain of the Deep South in Georgia and the Carolinas, and the lightning quick trails of Tennessee and Kentucky. Now it's time for something new. Mud, muck, slime, goop, whatever you want to call it. These guys call it fun. Round 7 of the Grand National ATV Cross Country Series is next. From sludgy, messy, sloppy Clarksburg, West Virginia. Look out! Welcome to Round 7 of the Grand National Cross Country Series on Fox Sports Net. Today, ATVs from Clarksburg, West Virginia. Hello, everyone. I'm Larry Myers, joined as always by Fox Sports Net expert off-road analyst Mark Hyde. Mark, this championship chase has just been spectacular so far.
Yeah, the front three guys have just been doing a great job. They've been battling hard for the wins. All 3 of them have wins, and they've all been fairly consistent. In fact, of the 3 guys, they've been in some order on the podium in 5 out of the 6 races. But now's the time when Smiley and Yoakley have to get busy. Ballance, he's the defending champion. He knows about winning races. He knows about winning championships. If these guys want to do something, they have to act now and make sure he ends up in about 3rd or 4th place every weekend from here on out.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And obviously, strategy is going to play a big part in this championship chase. Earlier, we talked to the riders and asked them what we could expect from them as the season wears on.
You got to go out and, like I said, you got to try to win every race that you go to. And, you know, intensity heats up when the points get closer. And, you know, it's obviously, for the riders, it's more intense because you're worried about the points versus the season where you're just more relaxed and trying to get in there and get into the point series. But it changes a little bit, but basically the same program.
Yeah, they're getting more and more important. Just got to, you know, second's just not good enough. I got to get the win here today.
I really do need to start winning some races. You know, I've been trying real hard and felt like I could, but just a couple of little things holding me back. You know, just some of it I may be bringing on myself, and some of it maybe not. You know, but I'm happy with everything. But I definitely need to start winning some.
Consistency going. It's all about the power by Sweetness. You have to take the guy up on the every week to get in there. But I think it's nice to build some confidence. Who rides an ATV team? Outstanding guy with his arms and hero.
Thanks, Larry. As Larry pointed out, Jeff Seagot's best finish of the season is 2nd place. But Jeff...
West Virginia. I just think the American guy is I'm excited for this ride. It's a rain last night. It's nothing but the country club nonstop. It's going to be a blast.
All right, we identified you early on as someone to watch, even though you were a bit inexperienced. How much do you think you've learned through the first half of this season?
Well, you know, unfortunately, it's been that I've gotten pretty good starts, top 5 starts, and for saying that, being able to ride with the William Yoakley and the Bill Ballances and the Matt Smiley, I've been fortunate enough to learn from their mistakes, and there's been times where I've actually got past them and I was actually leading the race, which builds up a lot of confidence, and I think for saying that, coming to any race, I think I would be able to win.
Okay, only 16 points off that lead in the series standings. Are you thinking championship at this point?
I don't want to discourage myself and say no, but realistically, I think I still have a little bit more to learn. Being this is my first year in the series, I think for next year, as long as I stay healthy.
really seem like what they get on. What's really going to happen is the barrels that we've been running at the racetrack, which basically give you the gas and most of you can figure out who did. And we'll basically put those guys, most of the guys that have been running back at Florida today, not about any time in components of top boat. That's not enough to manipulate and squeeze power boat conditions. And you know what? You can feel it. Yes, indeed, but you're not going to run a club motor. It's got power flowing. You're essentially going to be good. If you think those are jets, you're going to get great practical jets. It's fine with me. But anyway, the last track, good luck, everyone. Standing by.
Of water. There's water all throughout this little valley in here. There's no way around it. They're going to get stuck in trees. They're going to get high-centered in the ruts. We're going to see over 300 ATVs coming through here for 4 laps. That's 1,200 sets of tires. High-centered, stuck in trees, you name it. And by the end of today's racing, it's going to look like a mud bomb went off.
I have no idea what a mud bomb is. Do you? Well, stay tuned to Fox Sports Net to find out. It's round 7 of the ATV GNCC series. GNCC Racing on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by CD Boots and ATV Sport, the #1 Sport Quad magazine. Hey, welcome back to Clarksburg. You get some kind of an idea as this fellow is going waiting. What we were talking about when we talked about mud. And, well, believe it or not, they do have showers here, Mark.
Yes, they do. This is going to be some kind of event here today. With all the rain we've had, the action is going to be intense out there.
Did he lose a bet?
Down here in West Virginia.
That's almost deep enough to actually swim in. And here's another form of entertainment in the pits, piling up all the mud that you can find. There's a starting field. Does anyone have a clear-cut advantage as we look at the starting lineup in the mud?
Well, I think Bill Ballance has to be one of the favorites. He's won some mud races in the past. This should be right up his alley.
Well, a good field, a big field of ATVs. Meanwhile, down in the starting line where the riders are assembling is our Bob Walker.
Thanks, Larry. I'm with one of the mud racing experts, Steve Holbert. Steve's riding the Cannondale this year, doing a lot of testing for him. Today, he expects to run up near the front. Steve, tell us what you've done to your bike.
Today for the mud, what I did, I just narrowed the rear end down to maybe try to keep the tire up, and dropped the tires a little bit, and went up there just a little bit for the mud and test ride it.
Good stuff. I like this stuff here. Like ATVs, good mud racer. I rode the last roll today. Just broke into the top 10. What are some of your precautions today?
We do a few things for the mud. We have the springs on the front of the rail loader. We have some covers in the shocks to keep some of the mud out of them. We've got some tape, goggles, and just more or less to hide in the mud.
Let's go to DUVALL because we're certainly ready to learn. Later in the race now, depending on who you rep for your cars at home, what are you going to do to handle the Williams out here in Clarksburg?
I've been running my Williams to rep the Williams. I've been thinking for the last few races, essential back position. I've been thinking about racing in the mud.
Those mud tires. But it seems like everybody's lining up today is using their normal tires. Maybe the conditions aren't hardly as bad as we thought they might be this morning. So I think it'll be okay. The competition's going to be all right there together because nobody's trying anything different from what I've seen.
All right, well, speaking of competition, let's head on down here.
Conditions. What is your strategy for today?
Well, we're going to get out kind of early and hopefully stay out front and keep out of the mud and get back on my face and hopefully the finish race will be okay and hopefully win.
What do you want to do today?
Other garlic, that kind of stuff, put it in and you just bake it. It turns out great.
I've decided that after the race, I'm going to Gallagher's to eat.
Yep, Johnny sounds like he's got a heck of a dish cooked up for us there, and being a fish dish, that might come in handy today.
Now there's one of the low-lying areas. Look at this. Watch this guy. Watch it.
That's Yoakley coming by there.
Up into third place. He's come up into third place. I was pointing out that abrupt transition, downhill to uphill with a stream right at the bottom. Now that could turn into a problem before the day is over.
Yeah, and that water also, it hides stuff under there. The rocks we talk about where you could pick up a flat tire, since the water's up higher than normal, the banks aren't where you would expect them to be, so these guys really got to be careful out there.
Mark, I think you bring up a very good point. This course is littered with rocks. Flat tires could certainly be a problem despite all the soft terrain that we're going to.
Yeah, you saw Bill Ballance there just going for the roll-offs on his goggles. The riders have hopefully done about 4 or 5 sets of goggles today because those are going to be important. They have tear-offs plus roll-offs, and they're going to use everything they got today.
Matt Smiley has dropped back just a little ways as Yoakley is actually gained on the 2 guys in front of him.
Yeah, and there's Santo DeRisi. He's in 4th place, followed by, there's our fish guy, Johnny Gallagher, and Brad Page is right behind him.
I certainly hope Gallagher will take a shower before he cooks that fish for us.
Yeah, Curtis Crump getting a little close to our cameraman, Chad DUVALL. He's bringing up the rear of this pack. These guys, with all this mud, they're still staying really close together.
And they're also having a good time. That amazes me about the guys that are stars or the guys that are just here pursuing an amateur career. They love to ride in this terrain. Whoa! They love to ride in this terrain. The nastier, the better. And I think you share their thought. Look at this! Look at this!
Smiley and Ballance, Smiley's about 14 seconds behind Bill Ballance here, and those two have a pretty clear trail.
I wonder how critical is it to make up time on this first lap? I mean, if you're back a ways, are you better off if you take your time, select a good position to ride in, look for the better part of the trail, or do you really go great guns to try to get up front early?
This is the women of GNCC. We're looking at the ATVs with runners in the past. She is very well in the RacerTV racing. This is some pleasure watching ATV start behind the racetrack. Runners in the past racing together. Now on the podium, Marcus Smiley. He's got Emily with
And when you break away from people like this, when you have a course like this is a good chance for Ballance to make that getaway stick.
A good chance, but my guess is in terrain like this that nothing is going to stick. At least it's going to be unpredictable, that's for certain.
Yeah, there's things out there that can pop up on you really quick. Yoakley's going by, Santo DeRisi's right on him. No, that's Johnny Gallagher, my mistake.
Yeah, the key there was those 2 riders have caught up to Smiley, so Smiley well back. He's not only not gaining on the leader, he has actually lost a little bit more ground.
Yes, he has, and it could be, he might have made a mistake or 2 out there. It's easy to do on a day like today.
This is a treacherous course. We're going to go back and take a look at what happened to Smiley to lose all that ground. This is from the motocam. See, he just spun off the track, Mark.
Yeah, he got in there, got on the gas too soon, and as slippery as it is with that grass there, made it even more slippery. And this has brought Smiley back with Yoakley and the rest of the gang.
Yeah, well, as we get back to the race, you'll find that the entire gang is together because of this bottleneck caused by mud. Matt Smiley is there. We got Yoakley. We got Balance. Oh, this is a big mess.
Yes, it is. These are the riders that didn't get off the starting line until later in the race, and the leaders are coming around to complete their actual first full lap. And these hills and this narrow section of trails just got everything all bottlenecked up. And you see Bill Balance there. He's off the bike, 01. You can see his number on his helmet right there. He's backing his quad up, and he's looking for a way out of here.
Oh, he is indeed. He is indeed. He doesn't see one though, and I don't either. Now he's asking our motocam man, how do I get out of this mess? Meanwhile, in the pits, Bob Walker is standing by with another problem.
We're here in the Matt Smiley pits on lap 1, and they're getting ready for a quick pit stop. We expected Matt to change out his right rear tire. Let me see if I can find out a little bit of what's going on. What are the plans here for the pit stop?
First, we're going to change his tire. We're going to gas him, and gloves and goggles, everything. 15 seconds, gold.
There you go, here in the Smiley pits.
Well, meanwhile, Bill Balance found a way out of that log jam, and there he is. He'll be pulling into the pit area, just goggles, no gas at all. Now, Balance is no longer the leader. Because they were stuck in that quagmire and riders coming up behind them were able to go around it. We have had a lead change. In fact, in scoring, they're reporting that Steve Holbert is now leading this race. And there's the checkpoint. That's where it all happens, and that's where our reports stem from.
Yes, it is. Oh, my goodness, Larry, did you see that guy getting a little aggressive with that water crossing?
Yeah, a little aggressive is right. I'm not laughing at you there, pal. Well, I guess I kind of am. There's Holbert, he's the leader, Gallagher, Balance, and Edwards in that order. You know what? That tumble was deserving of our seedy boots thrill seeker shot of the day. Let's take another look. What happens, Mark?
Well, you can see he goes to wheelie it, but he doesn't get the front end up enough. And when those front wheels catch that water, it's like putting your front brakes on and over the bars he goes. You got to admire his gusto, but I question his decision making at that point in time.
Well, I admire him for getting right back up and getting on that machine and going out for another lap. Now, here's what Bob Walker was talking about, and it was the right rear tire.
Yeah, look at these guys. We got guys putting gas in it. We got guys changing a tire. Smiley's over there hopefully getting his new gloves and goggles like we talked about. This isn't going to be a 15-second pit stop like they said, but it's pretty darn quick. It looks like it's going to be closer to about 30, but that's with all the work he's getting done. That's pretty quick work.
Yeah, Mark, we'll give a tip of the hat to the pit crew here. In reality, all the work that they had to do under ideal conditions, that would be quick work. There's our new leader, Steve Holbert, and we'll be right back. ATV, Grand National Cross Country Racing, the Wilderness GNCC. We're on board with our core moto cam following Chris BORICH as he makes his way through what has turned into, I guess it started that way, an extremely muddy, sloppy, gooey, messy course. And there's a sample right there.
That's Curtis CRUMP there. Curtis has been running up front most of the day after that bottleneck section, or actually the whole day from start, and he's found himself a little bit off the course right here, Larry.
Well, he was going up a hill, tried to stop or make that corner, and just spun off to the side. Let's go to the pits with Jen Hildreth and a report on mud.
All right, it's no secret that it's muddy out here, but let's just take a little look at what these guys are looking out of.
let them come and get the race finished up high. But the wind's got a mile high roll, and if all market goes on, they're going to run us way out. And those flat tires are such an important part of your racing.
Because we have had a very unfortunate incident at a sprint race right off that recently is balance. And there is a balance both sides. It is just a quarter of a mile free. That means nothing. But that race, balance got away in that race. He got himself out into balance by about a lap after.
I'm really clear that was really well because the BORICH was so heavy. And it was frozen itself all up front. And don't worry, let's not spend the day. We decided we were going to do one job and we're going to flat, so we're waiting for a good turn and see what it is. Thanks, we're getting all packed up for that start tonight. Quality balancing and driving is a lot of fun. There you go, it's been great with Larry. Thanks for that unit of mud expert there, Paul.
Coming to you, Jeff. He ran a couple of races. He's a mud expert. Now, there was a mistake on that race. Balance actually didn't race the balance race well. He got to race, and he got dropped in that mud hole right where the train got stopped, and the leaders dropped right in the bushes and all.
All right, now again we can find mud on floor, and we'll clear what's behind and go race number 4. That's BORICH.
Yeah, Chris, he looked a little cautious in that mud hole. It's been a very difficult day, some treacherous conditions, and he might have kind of done that on purpose. He says, you know, Balance is the defending champ. He knows all this game pretty well. I'm just going to tuck in and follow him for a while.
Would you want to follow, or would you rather be in the lead? I think I'd rather stay up front where you're not going to get all that mud and dirt clods spit on you.
It depends on traffic and everything, but a lot of times it's fun to follow because you let the guy lead and be the guinea pig. Sometimes you don't know how deep those water holes are, and if he makes it, you know, it's a good place for you to go.
Mark, here's mud in your eye.
Boy, and there's a lot of that happening out there today, Larry.
Yeah, let's get back to race action. Bill Ballance making his, that's Holbert. Ballance has passed Holbert. There's Holbert in second now, and there goes BORICH past Holbert. He's into second place. That drops Holbert back to third.
Yeah, Stevie, he's struggling with that flat tire. You saw him come down having a hard time making that corner, and hopefully he can get in the pits and get that thing fixed pretty quick.
Saw Johnny Gallagher. He's turning in a great ride, and there's Chad DUVALL, who is up. He grabbed a handful of leaves. What's that about?
Oh, he's grabbed the leaves there to get some traction on his grips. He must be having a hard time holding on. Also, you could hear his bike. The silencer's missing, too.
Out of the checkpoint, down the hill, through the water. You know they're going a lot slower since our seedy thrill seeker shot of the day took that header. Here are the standings as we take a brief break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Well, Steve Holbert is pulling into the pits, and get this, and we have no explanation, he is the first rider in. You'll recall when we went to commercial, he had just been passed by BORICH and by Balance. They're nowhere in sight. It's a mystery to me.
Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of things happen out on the race course today that could explain that or not explain it. It's just a mess out there today.
Well, they're changing that ATV by holding the front end up with sheer physical strength. Bob Walker, meanwhile, is standing by.
Steve, how are the conditions out there? It looks really muddy. Is it doable?
Oh, I was doing great until I got a front flat. So that's going to put the hurtings on me today.
Do you realize you're actually ahead of Balance right now coming into the pits?
I was at first.
They've yet to come through. You're the first leader in.
They come through. They already come through. Yeah, they did. They passed me. They passed me 2 miles back. They had to come through.
They're set up down at their pit waiting for him.
They must have went the wrong way.
There's Balance right there pulling in. You're back in the race, son. Go get him.
He'd have to with that encouragement. He's got to go get him. And I think that actually he explained what happened. Balance and BORICH took a wrong turn someplace, and that puts them all together again. Now another tire change going on. This one is on Page's machine.
Yeah, Brad, he had a flat tire like we talked about earlier. A lot of the pit crew action is hot and heavy today. He's looking for a glove. He's got new goggles on. He's trying to get out there and mix it up with the leaders.
Boy, it took him longer to put new gloves on than it did to change the tire. That's got to feel good, putting your hands in those nice, warm, comfortable gloves.
Oh, that's probably the driest he's been since this race started.
And it's only his hands. Look at this suit, look at this mess.
Yeah, there's Balance out front, followed by Chris BORICH. These two, they've been close together all day. Barry Hawk standing by, cheering them on.
Well, despite the nasty conditions, they have put on a show, and the racing has been great. There's your leader, Balance, and BORICH running in the number 2 position, and our moto cam guy getting splashed with mud.
Yes, you know, this thing has just been deteriorating like we talked about earlier. See these guys struggling up there. Oh, look, Chad DUVALL right in behind a lapped rider has got hung up. Stevie Holbert's getting around him and into 4th place right there.
And that, of course, dropped DUVALL back into 5th. Now, that is not DUVALL. That is a lapped rider that is just disappearing from. There's DUVALL. He's a sandwich. He's sandwiched between 2 others. And Barry Hawk has jumped into the middle of that muddy mess to help Chad out.
Yeah, Barry, he's 7-time national ATV champ, and he and Chad, they banged bars many a days back in when Barry was racing quads full time.
Was he holding his ear to get away from all that noise?
Oh, I would be. Man, that thing is making a ruckus out there.
Johnny Gallagher has worked his way up to the number 3 position on his Yamaha. Gallagher's having just a tremendous race out here.
Yes, and Bill Balance, he's doing an excellent job picking good lines. There's Chris BORICH right behind him. Chris hopefully is just studying Bill's every move, and maybe he's got something up his sleeve for when we get to the end.
Well, maybe we'll see it on the core moto cam. Who knows?
Yep, we're jumping in behind Chris BORICH here. You can see, boy, this track has really deteriorated, gotten extremely slippery, and a lot of the one lines out there.
Now, just ahead of BORICH is our leader, Bill Balance. So the rider that you're looking at is in 2nd place. Oh, drops down off that slight embankment into a mud hole. A lot of mud coming out. He makes the corner,
and you can see too, when you get into those water crossings, there's a lot of stuff hidden underneath that water and under the mud, and that's why we're getting a lot of the flat tires, a lot of the lead changes and passing going on, because as you saw Stevie Holbert just a few minutes ago use good vision to get around Chad DUVALL.
And I started to say there was your leader, Bill Balance, but that was another lapped rider. You catch just a glimpse of Balance up in front. Now we're looking at the battle for the lead.
Oh, look at this Balance. He did a nice job. We had a bunch of guys sitting there. Balance threaded his way through there really nice.
Yes, and that provided an easy opening for BORICH because he didn't have to look around. He was just able to make his selection and go.
There's Barry Hawk on an ATV out there. He's everywhere on this course today. Chad DUVALL, though, still making a racket, but getting around in good shape.
That is a lapped rider to the outside of Bill Balance as he makes the pass. And here comes BORICH. He picks the same line as Balance down through the mud. He is that far behind him, maybe a total of 30 feet, something along that area.
Yeah. Boy, look at Balance. He's just sliding down that hill. Sometimes he can't stop it if he wanted to. They're just getting really slippery out there, but he's doing a nice job. And Chris BORICH is not letting him get away.
It looks often like, as they're making that slide, that they're out of control, and maybe they are slightly, but it's a controlled slide. How's that?
Yeah, Stevie Holbert, he's right there in the middle of this group. He's trying to get a little bit of distance between himself and Chad DUVALL. Those two, they've raced ATVs for numerous years and won a lot of the GNCC races over the years. Here comes Chad now.
You can tell Chad, he's maybe the only rider out there that we know for sure who he is every time we see him. And really all you have to do is open your ears and listen.
Oh, and look, he's moved right up on the rear wheel of Steve. He's bumping Steve's looking back like, Chad, what are you doing to me here, bud?
Holbert's having none of it. He just holds on to his position. DUVALL wants by awfully bad. Bang, bang, but he's going to sit back behind it. Balance is going to.
Yeah, with all the goggle changes and glove changes, flat tires today, you know, guys have been gassing on all kinds of different laps, so it's really mixed things up.
So Balance gets some clean gloves. He gets goggles he can see out of. He gets a tank of gas. And meanwhile, BORICH has flashed by and into the lead. So it is BORICH, Balance, and the white flag waves. And folks, he's not surrendering. That just means it's the last lap.
Steve Hatch, and Jack Bill Ballance by Red. Now, Ballance is trying to hold fast and try to hold on to this pass. And Chris Quinn runs the other way. He's got Chris Ballance, and there's a horse in there. A superb bit of riding by the great backdrop, the hard field in that double team position.
Now this is fantastic horsemanship on this map. It's all been stalled, and it's just we've got a lot on front. Like Bill, I've been hounding. The barns are making them my barns every one of this race. Ballance got a nice pace as we got near this last half. He's going to be more aggressive than that at that pass here, but he's going to have to take the stick with the rest of his bike.
And to his race best, Bill Ballance is having problems doing clearances going near the finish line.
Well, he needs help with that Chris Ballance back with the wheel. He does. He's got Chris running the other way.
Well, he's tossing his arm up in the air. Where his second placer is going to be? Ahead now is DUVALL. He finishes second. And here comes Ryan. Looks like taking straight off for the win.
Looks like Brian Steve Hatch got right with Steve Hatch up in the back of the pack for third place.
And you know, this whole race has been raining really, really well for that Ballance outfit. Scrump is going to be winning by a length. Chris Stevens just finished.
First place! Big win in the European Big Trophy now for Bill. Has he got it yet?
It's sometimes in the good group you can make good money from a pack like that. Let's get back to Bill Ballance.
He's over it. Number 1 man. He's got big work to do today. Fast to do a big day.
Well, well done, Bill.
I think we had a bad start to begin with. Then about 7 miles in, there was a big bottleneck. I mean, there were people everywhere. And me and Bill, I just followed Bill, and we kind of went down around it, and we made it around it. And I ended up coming around in first because Bill took the wrong turn out here. I think I come around in first. And I was really had a lot of momentum built up. I was doing good. Then I got a front flat tire. And
Got a great out of it for a while. And the way Bill moved with the scramble, took the back of the poop, and then ran a long way. And pulled back around. Right back to back out. And now here with Chris Ballance. He was able to get in the water and he threw it in the mud hole.
I ended up third.
Well, not bad. That was good. I don't know.
Then I just threw the finish in the mud hole. He was right in front of me. I couldn't even get close enough to beat me, but he ended up plowing in and I got around him.
And finally, we have first winner here today for Team Cannonball, the first win ever for the ATV Cannonball team.
Well, both of you are awesome, and congratulations to them. Now for the Cannonball team. Bill and Bill Ballance, we'll find out when we come back.
CD Boots, and by ATV Sport, the #1 sport quad magazine. Well, Mark, I think the question is answered. We know what happened to Bill Ballance. It's taken a while, but he is being pushed toward the finish line.
Yeah, just like we saw earlier in the year with the bike race, Steve Hatch, he had to push his bike to get a decent finish, and here Bill Ballance doing the same thing.
Well, sometimes you need to push your bike like that. I'm going to get back to bike. I'm
That's great. That's what it matters.
Of course, the reference there was to the point situation and the championship chase. Bill Ballance will hold on to that despite the poor finish here today. And really, you know, you're going to have one once in a while. Here are the points. Ballance still on top by, 10 over Matt Smiley, then Yoakley, Page, Seagot, and BORICH. And of course, 3 wins for Ballance. He leads in that category.
Yes, Bill, he did what he had to do today. He beat Smiley and Yoakley. Oh, here's Chris BORICH getting some tips from the veteran Chad DUVALL on how to open the champagne bottle, Larry.
BORICH is intent. Do you see him looking at that, mouth open? How do you do that again?
I think, though, we're going to see a lot of Chris BORICH up on the stage this year.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I certainly hope so. He's a fine young man. So with that, I'll say thank you to my broadcast partner, Mark Hyde, to Jen Hildreth, Bob Walker. I'm Larry Myers. So long.